In my opinion, Chartered Secretaries are really highly valued by companies, particularly by directors. As Company Secretary, you are at the Chairman's right hand. You are right there in the boardroom while decisions are being taken. You are right at the heart of decision making.
I think there are a number of misconceptions about the role of Chartered Secretaries and Company Secretaries. I think a lot of people think that the role is in many ways very dull and very monotonous. They think that we deal with the same thing day in, day out, whereas actually what I find really interesting about the job is just how varied it is, and just how interesting it is, and how one day is so different from the next. You can very much choose the work that you do in any one day to sort of suit the mood that you're in sometimes.
The difference between Chartered Secretaries and, for example, solicitors and accountants is that Chartered Secretaries have a much wider range of knowledge and experience than the other professions. So, for example, Chartered Secretaries know about accounting, they know about business finance, they know about law, business regulation, ethics, all the sorts of things that are important to running any organisation today. It's the wide range of their knowledge and experience which differentiates a Chartered Secretary from a solicitor or accountant.
After qualifying as a Chartered Secretary, I was particularly interested in the legal aspects of it, and then went on to do a law conversion course with a view to maybe transferring over and working as a solicitor. But I didn't actually find the work as a solicitor nearly as interesting as that of being a Chartered Secretary. So despite having done the legal training, I stayed in the field of working as a company secretary.
I decided to become a Chartered Secretary when I was part of a young enterprise group, which is a group of sixth form students that set up their own company, and I was the company secretary of this company that we set up. So I got to learn about what they actually did. And during the milk round at university, an ICSA representative came and gave a talk about the qualification as well as the day-to-day life and work of a company secretary.
The options for me were either moving towards the commercial sector, which I didn't find as interesting, or working for myself, going freelance and providing secretarial services for a range of smaller charities and different charities. And it was something which allowed me to carry on working as a company secretary and develop in that way, but at the same time maybe working with lots of organisations. And I thought there was an opportunity for smaller organisations that wanted a professional service but didn't necessarily want it full-time and didn't warrant it full-time.
Working and studying can be quite hard at the same time, but with the ICSA qualification, the flexibility meant that you could do it when it suited you. With a couple of the modules that I did them by distance learning on my own. There were some that I went along to an ICSA accredited tuition provider to help me, to support me in that study.
Well, my advice to anyone embarking on a career path is to consider further education, and particularly a vocational qualification, such as the qualification that we offer. And the reason for that is that it's got so much breadth to it, so many areas of expertise, specialisation, knowledge, that it qualifies you to do so many things. So a Chartered Secretary can operate in so many different areas. The corporate sector, as I say, they can get into the boardroom very quickly, the National Health Service, the government service, local authorities, all sorts of organisations, charities. It's the breadth of the qualification. It opens up so many career avenues, and that's why I would recommend a qualification as Chartered Secretary.
My role entails researching the companies that the cooperative asset management invests in and liaising with the fund managers and the companies themselves to make sure that their corporate governance structures are sustainable and there's long-term value in the companies. I also represent the cooperative asset management at conferences, seminars and events, and draft responses to government consultations on policy, as well as the more traditional company secretarial work.
The benefits really of the qualification are the broad base of knowledge that it gives you, but it also means that you can go from industry to industry, and that's what I was looking for. I've started out in an oil company and I've ended up in a media company so far, so I think the qualification really does open those doors for you, and you can go into any industry and any company.
In my view, the best thing about the ICSA qualification is the very broad nature of it. I mean, you look at legal matters, financial matters, strategic matters, general management issues, and it really gives you a very broad base on which to base your career, whether you go on to be a specialist Chartered Secretary or whether you use that qualification as a springboard into something else. The other thing I would say, it's a very portable qualification. I've worked in 4 different industries, all very, very different industries. And I've been able to take and build on my skills and move them with me, and that stood me in really good stead in advancing my career.
The advantages of taking the ICSA qualification is that it helps you in the long term for your career progression as well as the short term with your day-to-day role. It's also internationally recognised, so if you wanted to travel abroad with it, it could take you to many places.